Good evening and welcome to the Coon Rapids City Council meeting for Tuesday, September 4th, 2018. If you could please rise and join us for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Kraskowiak.
Here.
Councilmember Picker.
Here.
Councilmember Demmer.
Here.
Councilmember Geisler. Here. Councilmember Johnson.
Here.
Councilmember Wells.
Here.
Mayor Cook.
Here. Thank you. First item on our agenda this evening is to adopt this evening's agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Demmer, second by Geisler. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the agenda is adopted. We are up to approval of the minutes from the previous meeting, August 21st.
Your Honor.
Councilmember Kicker.
I make
do
a
that.
motion that we approve the meeting minutes from August 21st, 2018.
Second.
Motion by Kicker, second by Demmer. Any discussion or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And those minutes are approved. We have 4 items on our consent agenda this evening. The first item is to approve a master consulting agreement with SRF Consulting Group. This is the city, from time to time, the city retains consultants for professional engineering services to assist with city projects. Typically, the city contracts with firms possessing expertise in specific areas that cannot be provided by city forces or to supplement existing city services, as opposed to relying on continuing servicing agreements that are prepared by each consulting firm. Staff has previously initiated a city master consulting agreement, and at this time, we're looking to add SRF Consulting Group Incorporated, general municipal, traffic, transportation, and large roads highway services into the city consultant pool. So our first item on the consent agenda will be to add SRF Consulting Group Incorporated to the city's consultant pool and authorize appropriate staff to execute such agreements. Next on our consent agenda is to approve the Coon Rapids Development Agreement for Lone Ridge. This is the development agreement between the City of Coon Rapids and BL Holdings LLC for site development and installation of street and utility infrastructure necessary to serve Lone Ridge. The developer will utilize a private sewer system that includes a lift station and force main that will tie in with the public system at the south end of the plat. And the homeowners association will be responsible for maintenance of the system. The development agreement further outlines city expectations for park dedication, grading, and building permits. And this is the one that's just north of Main Street and on the west side of Shenandoah Boulevard. So let's see. So with this, we'll be approving and executing the Coon Rapids Development Agreement for the Lone Ridge Development with BL Holdings LLC. The agreement has previously been signed by BL Holdings LLC. Next on our consent agenda is to authorize a grant application for electric vehicle charging stations. And we're looking to apply for a grant to assist in funding electrical vehicle EV charging stations at select city-owned facilities. If we're successful, we're looking at funds from phase 1 of the Volkswagen settlement for electric vehicle level 2 charging station development, and all 3 are proposed municipal locations: City Hall/Civic Center, Coon Rapids Ice Arena, and Public Works. The grant cycle requires installation to be complete by September of 2020 and provides up to $10,000 for each dual port station, which means 2 designated parking spots. All initial costs must be funded by the city with an 80% reimbursement after the fact. The estimated cost per station location is approximately $7,500 or $22,500 for all 3. So we're looking at authorizing application for a grant to bring EV charging stations to city-owned facilities. And the last item on our consent agenda is to accept an informational item regarding a corporate officer change, Buffalo Wild Wings, 3395 River Rapids Drive, and that's for informational purposes only. And that is our consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Geisler?
move the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Geisler, second by Wells. Any discussion or questions? Councilmember Demmer? Demmer?
I did
Sorry.
I did have a question about the electrical vehicle charging stations. I think that makes a lot of sense. There's grants, there's reimbursement. The only thing I was trying to figure out is putting it to the municipal locations, City Hall, Coon Rapids Ice Arena, and Public Works. Is it the opinion that that's maximizing the chance to get the grant? I was thinking there might be higher trafficked areas by the public that would make them more accessible for public charging. I don't imagine a lot of people are going to charge their electric vehicles at the Public Works unless they're employees of Public Works.
Councilmember Dever, members of the council, one of the requirements is it's city-owned land.
And so there's nothing that's city-owned that would be, say, near a park and ride or something like that.
Well, there's been some discussions with community development about the Riverdale station and some of those things, but not having all those details in place right now. These are the locations, and I'm thinking on Hanson off of Highway 10, Public Works makes sense, certainly. Coon Rapids Boulevard, the arena, there's a lot of multifamily around there. So it has to be available 24/7 and it has to be on a city-owned lot.
Okay, and then are we locked into those locations if we get the grant, or is this sort of a step one?
Those are the locations we've identified. I guess there's probably some wiggle room, but
Okay.
we're not locked into anything until they say, yes, we're willing to fund them. And then we'd come back to you with agreement and funding.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor. Councilmember Johnson?
Councilmember Demmer actually asked a couple of my questions, but I have a related question, that is, are these anticipated to be free charging stations for the public?
That is what's anticipated, but again, that'll be something we'll have to decide as we move forward. I mean, part of that is the scoring criteria. That's what our assumption is. The research we've done finds that if you're going to put a swipe card or something that costs money, it costs more money to put one of those in than you're actually going to recoup from your energy costs for a long period of time, because they don't have a lot. And they also have to have some solar component as well for charging.
I would echo Councilmember Demmer's suggestions, and that we really, I think it's fine to apply for them to be in the 3 locations that we've identified, and I see the deadline is tomorrow, so let's get it in. But if we could keep an open mind to some others that might have a little bit better public access. I like the idea of putting one at the arena, though. I think that'll be great.
Sure.
Thank you.
Just charge your car while your kids are playing in the splash pool.
Exactly. Or skating.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions on the consent agenda?
Mayor,
Councilmember
I think it's
Piscoviak?
clear between the 2 council members, but these charging stations are envisioned for public use more so than our company-owned fleet use. Is that
That's correct. If we wanted to do something and we initiate our own, we'd probably set up separate stations
Okay.
independent of these.
That's what I figured. Okay, thank you.
All right. No other discussion? All in favor of moving the consent, you've already got a motion and a second. Okay, all in favor of the consent agenda, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. We are under new business now. Consider resolution 18-23 sub 8, accepting plans and specifications for the Riverwind building package and authorizing solicitation of bids. Mr. Himmer, do you want to hit the highlight on this, or do you want me to read your discussion point here?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this has been a long discussed item. We do have a construction manager on our contract now, and so this is just getting authorization to get it out. There'll probably be 7-ish bid packages, and we're hopeful we can get something done here this month, get some bids back to you, if not within the couple of weeks, certainly by first meeting in October, and get that building going along with the site improvements.
All right. Very good. Council?
Mayor,
Councilmember Griscoviac?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 18-23 sub 8, accepting plans and specifications for the Riverwind building remodel package and authorize the solicitation of bids.
Second?
Motion by Griscoviac, second by Kicker. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. Item 7 is to consider resolution 18-94, adopting the preliminary 2019 tax levy. Ms. Legg or Mr. Stemwedel, you want to talk about what we're doing tonight, or?
Mayor and
I mean,
Council.
we know, but maybe it'd be good to
Yes,
explain it.
Yes, we will explain it to the public since you folks have been working on it forever. So, basically what we would like the city council to do tonight is to adopt the preliminary tax levy for taxes payable in 2019. And that levy is $28,233,781. So if you adopt this tonight, we will submit it to the county. The county will use this tax levy to send out the truth in taxation notices, and people will see the impact to their taxes. This levy can be decreased from this point on when we have the truth in taxation hearing in December, which we have set for December 4th, I think was the date, but it cannot be increased. So this is for the 2019 budget, and the city council has workshopped this and talked about this in another workshop, so we've been kind of talking about this for a while. The process starts in about May. Staff is putting together information, and city council workshopped it in August.
All right, very good. Council?
Your Honor,
Councilmember Demmer?
move to adopt Resolution 18-94, establishing the preliminary tax levy for the city of Coon Rapids.
I'll second it.
Motion by Demmer, second by Johnson. Discussion.
Your Honor.
Councilmember Demmer?
So just a few highlights I thought I'd mention and make sure understanding correctly. So while some of the benchmark homes, most of the benchmark homes went up, including at least one that went up pretty substantially, that one was due to some repairs that had happened, so that's part of the reason it went up. But it is really the value of the land that went up, in that if I look at the tax rate, the preliminary tax rate has actually come down slightly. So the levy went up, the land values went up, the percent of your value being taxed has gone down, but your absolute dollars go up because your value went up. Did I get all the ups and downs summarized correctly?
You did it. I lost one little thing you said. But the one thing we have to remember, we raised our levy, but the impact to individual properties is not uniform.
Right.
So now we, city council and staff have had a lot of discussion, but residential properties are going up fairly rapidly. They've kind of really rebounded, and people know that after reading the paper, you get a lot if you're trying to sell your house. However, commercial industrial properties have not done the same thing. So when you allocate that $28 million of taxes, the residential properties are now taking a bigger piece of that pie than the commercial. So residential may be going up at a higher rate than the levy went up in some cases, and that's because they're kind of picking up the piece for the commercial and industrial properties that actually went up at a lower pace. They didn't go down, some of them went down, but they went up at a lower pace. So they're shifting it over to the residential properties.
And that
So-
is not something that we can micromanage. That's all set by state guidelines on how to figure out your tax rate. So those sort of rules about the shifting values, changing the tax percentage, I mean, what we do is we set the levy.
Correct.
And the rest is sort of determined by formulas. So just making that clear so people understand that it's kind of a mixed bag, right? The rate went up for homeowners. The tax percentage, that the value of the total city tax percentage actually went down a little bit. So it's an interesting situation to look at on paper.
That's for sure.
On that, we can all agree, huh? All right, any other discussion on this one? We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. We're on to agenda item 8, which is to consider planning case 18-10. Consider a preliminary plat for Paulno Estates, 125th Lane and Main Street. And now this is a different little section, but very close to the previous one. And we're looking at a preliminary plat approval to subdivide 2 residential lots into 4 single-family residential lots. Does anybody need Mr. Harlicker to run his because you know he's got a presentation ready, but does anybody want to see it? It's all quiet up here.
Maybe a summary.
Yep. Councilmember Griscoviac.
This is just an introduction, right? Or not, is that correct?
Preliminary plat, consider a preliminary plat. That's a good, so this isn't just an introduction. This is, we're considering the plat.
Yes, Mayor and council members, what the council is being asked to do tonight is approve the preliminary plat.
Yep.
We anticipate if council does move in and approve this plat, they'll be back to the council, second meeting this month with the final plat.
Okay,
Okay.
very good.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Geisler.
I'll make a motion in planning case 18-10 to recommend approval of the preliminary plat for Palno Estates with the stated 6 conditions from their memo.
Motion by Geisler, second by Wells. Is there any discussion on this?
Your Honor.
Councilmember Demmer?
It looks like there are park dedication fees associated with this. Is the owner aware of those?
Yes, he is, Councilmember Demmer. When these 2 lots were initially platted last year, they paid park dedication for the 1 lot, the new lot that was created. And now with this preliminary plat and final plat, there'll be park dedication due for the 3 new lots.
Okay. Just like to make sure no one gets surprised on that and then pulls it at the last minute, so thank you.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. Item 10 is to consider the 2018 and 19 Minnesota Blue Ox contract for usage of the Coon Rapids Ice Center. And it seems like everybody is happy now with this one now? Okay, there we go. So 2017 and 2018 was the inaugural season with the Minnesota Blue Ox hockey team at the Coon Rapids Ice Center. And both the city and the Blue Ox considered it to be successful season for each entity. The city and the Blue Ox would like to continue their relationship for the upcoming 2018 and 19 season with a similar agreement as last year. The agreement has been updated to reflect the new rental rates. Anything anybody have to add to that, or everybody seems happy with this now? So, Councilmember Kicker?
I make a motion that we approve the Minnesota Blue Ox contract for usage of the Coon Rapids Ice Center during the 2018-2019 season and authorize the mayor and city manager to execute the contract on behalf of the city.
Second.
Motion by Kicker, second by Geisler. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And the motion carries. We can probably go over, we can go right past open mic since there is nobody here. We don't have any reports on previous open mics, and we are to other business.
Your Honor.
Councilmember Demmer?
Today's the first day of school in public school in our districts, and just, wishing everybody, parents, teachers, students, a good school year. And, we're not the school board, but, as things come up where you hope that we would work with the school board, if there's issues like that, you can certainly let us know. And then one other thing, one of sort of a couple steps removed distant relative was actually rescued by a member of the EMT crew with the Heart Safe program. So just another reminder that the Heart Safe program is a good deal and close to home. So make sure that everybody involved gets their appropriate kudos, you guys over there.
We have a movie in the park coming up, right? We have before or next, I don't know if it's before or after the next meeting, but
Correct, Mayor Council, on Saturday, September 15th, at the Coon Rapids Athletic Complex, we'll be showing of Paddington 2. As I mentioned, it starts about 7:30. There'll be concessions available, and it'll be a fun time.
you can start a little earlier when it's not the longest night of the year, when you show them in the early summer. All right. Any other business to come before council this evening? Mr. Stemwedel?
Mayor Council also just mentioned the online Fall Parks and Rec Guide is available. You'll find it on our city website. This is one we don't print and send to homes as we do in the spring with the spring guide, but you'll find it online. You can also come to City Hall and we print copies and make them available as needed if people want the paper version, so.
All right. Very good. Any other business?
Mr. Mayor, move to adjourn.
Second?
Motion by Geisler, second by Demmer to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.